Hello there, folks, and welcome, to the new game, Strategic Command American Civil War. It's been quite some time, folks, since we've seen each other. Well, there are multiple reasons for that, but though all of those are sad reasons, so let's not speak about them too much. But anyway, here we are, since I finally have time to enjoy some strategic command. And it's, as you can see, a new title. It came recently. And, well, when it came to World War I game, I actually participated in closed and then later on open beta. And, well, it turned out that I didn't really play the game after that, because I thought that at that time, I don't know whether that is still the case, but at that time the artillery was completely broken, and it completely made playing this game, at least to me, unenjoyable. So yeah, this one, in this case, I don't know anything about this game. As you can see, I've just started playing it. It's 4 minutes, literally. And, well, I'm going to go for a blind run. Knowing nothing about the game, the only thing I've heard when the press release came out was that there were some minor changes, like if the HQ has better rating than 8, it gives like 10% more to prepared attacks, something like that. But nothing about strategy. I haven't read the manual. I don't know what kind of decision events are there. I don't know what are the repercussions. So it will be truly a blind run. So before we do that, I want to actually check some things though. So let's see what the campaigns are here. When it comes to this conflict, I'm not really sure how I feel about it, because is this game made because this particular war is interesting, or was this game made because it's American war, and it appeals to the target base the most? I believe that the second part might be more important. And when it comes to American Civil War, I do not really know that much about it in terms of military, but, well, it's more interesting, at least to me, from the sociological perspective. I mean, to this day, many of the issues that were at the source of this war has not been resolved by American society, so you can still see the repercussions of that. But anyway, we've got Confederates and the Union, so it seems that Confederates have the initial initiative. Yeah, it makes sense. So we are going to play as the Union in the first game, but because they start, I want here to check out right now in this video. I want to check the units that we are dealing with and the research tree. So now let's just test it. Let's see Confederates. So what do we have here? British, French, and Spain, and we've got Mexico. Is it Mexico here? I think it is, because that's definitely not the Italian flag. That's Confederacy. Yeah. If I click on Union, Mexico. Okay. I'm going to play on normal difficulty level, but not in this campaign. Let's see. I want to see those units. So it seems like a typical strategic command game when it comes to additional options. I want to see the map, the units, and the research. Let's go, folks. Blue and gray. Yeah, let's keep all of those, because I do not want to get bothered right now with that. Okay. A, a bit of a weird map from the furthest vision. Okay, access, supply. Do we have something unusual? Doesn't seem so. So now, what are those? Sinks. Like literally, what? Fort. Okay. Range 1, nice to see. Prefer more, but sinks are here now. What are the objectives, I wonder? Not you. No, picture conditions. 10% and take cities. I'm not too familiar with the American map, so I might be wondering where those cities are, but it seems almost all of them are in the eastern part of the map. Like New Orleans should be here, yeah. Yeah, the river, I've heard about this change. The river can be traversed. Movement cost 0, so... Do we have any land units? That's a bit weird, we do not start with any units whatsoever. Interesting. Because I wonder whether there is a penalty of moving through the river like that. Because it says it's 0 movement cost. That doesn't sound right. Do we have any major rivers in here? We should have some. That's a major river. No, it's not. Maybe they actually... We don't have any major rivers anymore. Because we've got, well, the big rivers here. Because if you can traverse them without paying any movement points, that would be kind of weird. But I do not see any bridges or whatsoever. Well, there are roads, so maybe we can only traverse through roads. I'm not sure. Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. What? Why do we have a commie flag in here? What? Is it a message? Maybe it is. So, it was Washington, Richmond. What else? Charleston, New Orleans. And what were the cities? Other cities, I mean? Not you. Atlanta and Montgomery. Montgomery is here, and Atlanta is here. So, well, it was kind of the same case in the game that well, we focus in the east, and from what I recall, the Union pushed from this like center part to cut the Confederacy in half later on, but seems to be that way. Okay, so how are the convoys looking? Do we have a convoy map? Okay, I hate that big map. I don't like it at all. Okay. Chile. Haiti. So it seems like it goes to Confederacy. and they need to be at 5% of mobilization to provide an MPPs. Belize, Cuba. So they have to be at war to provide anything. And that's what ours, it seems. But from where? What's that? Okay. So, first of all, it looks like we'll have a little bit of a lack of units initially. May, so it probably is like 2 turns or something along those lines. Probably like in World War I game, we'll receive some units on the front lines. They will deploy automatically, I suppose. Yeah. Got a few ships around. Well, those things are pissing me off, like... What is that supposed to be? Okay, the Union has some ports. Now, do the British and other countries have their units? Okay, it seems they've got those. So they can probably participate heavily if they will join the war. Let's take a look at diplomacy screen before I dive into units anymore. So how much does it cost? 200 MPs for a major power and 100 for the minor. So I know that the ones that are already moving toward the Confederacy will join the States, that is. Toward Confederacy, but those that are at 0% or actually on the side of Union, well, some of them might join, I think, as well, if they are swayed away. But historically, some will join, nevertheless, it seems. Indian territories, interesting. The Brits and Spain start with any units? No, doesn't seem so. Okay. So probably with those countries I would invest into industrial tech to bring as much money from the convoys to the Confederacy. But okay, let's take a look at the research now. So, infantry equipment increases the land attack and defense values of, yeah. For regiments, okay, so we've got regiments, brigades, and rangers. So we've got different type of infantry units. Okay. So let's take a look at the values here. Okay, basically brigades suck completely. So the problem, or maybe the feature rather, is that in the strategic command games, the initial values are very low, and that's the reason why the upgrades are so important in those games. So, if according to this, if it is true, then, well, corps are the way to go, and every other unit is just irrelevant. But the limit for them might be like imposed. Let's take a look at the limit of course. 0. Okay, requires core organization research. Okay. Where is it? Increase the boot interaction point by 0.5. Okay. Action points 2. So at level 2 we gain 3 because the half points are downgraded, and at level 4 4 points. Okay. Let's compare them with divisions because that seemed to be the other unit. Look at that. That's a huge difference. And with the upgrades, they will smoke another unit. At least that's my assessment. Okay. HQs, we'll take a look at them. The prices seem to be similar. I'm not sure how the economy looks, but it seems that the money will be plentiful, as that's a hefty cost for a unit. Those are trash. Divisions are pretty strong. Let's compare divisions to other units. Mountain division. Okay, so I would suggest that they can move. It's not actually included here, but in the World War game, they could move without penalty through the mountainous hexes, so that probably is the difference between those two. So there is no difference in price, so I would go for them over division, normal division. Rangers, what can you do, my dude? Terrible stats. So what are you doing? Not sure what's the use for those guys. Spotting range, yeah. Demoralization, but they have to attack, so it's irrelevant. Okay, they seem really irrelevant, at least to me. Big zone of control. Marines, Amphibious Warfare. Let's take a look. So we'll combine looking at that. Amphibious Warfare. By 2. Long range, okay. So we've got long range amphibious vessels in this game. I know that the Union invaded. What's its name? New Orleans. So it might be. Look at that. Galveston. As Union, we can probably invade some of the ports, especially those that are bringing the convoys here. I'm not sure whether they will, like in case of Murmansk, it will, if the convoy route will be moved to another city, that, and we can traverse through the rivers. So if we can break, yeah, can break those locations, that then you can probably invade New Orleans from this. Okay, as you can see, Union warship located here may attack the New Orleans leaf, so I presume that would disable the convoy route rather earlier than later, and we can, we can move the long range and just destroy the fort, I suppose. I'm not sure how strong the Marines are in doing their job, but I suppose that taking those cities might be quite easy. Mobile. Not the case with Mobile, because, well, we do not have land sea hex or river hex that we can traverse unit through. Only from this side, but it's irrelevant, it seems. Pensacola. No unit. Okay, those might be sea hexes, I'm not sure. So, you're not my unit. And they do not seem to be able to traverse outside of the rivers. Is it right? Well, They have movement points, but they cannot. Let's see. River gunboat, yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Other ports. Let's take a look. Jacksonville. Not really. Savannah. Charleston. Not sure how some of those locations, whether it's easy to actually take them or not. Actually, we will. Those guys will join the Confederacy, Virginia, of course. That's Fort Monroe, so it's Union. Belongs to Union, okay. So some amphibious, definitely some amphibious plays might be in place here. Washington has a port here, okay. It seems like a location that we might be forced to guard. New Arc probably also needs a unit, I would suggest. How does it look inland? Doesn't tell me much, to be honest. But it seems like the war will not be too efficient in here. Well, we've got some national morale, or FS, fighting spirit locations. So we need to defend those, but it doesn't seem like to be too relevant, especially with the advancement like between those cities. The supply would be horrible. So probably, most likely, it will be focused on the east. At least that's my assessment now. Let's go to more units, shall we? Engineers. So they can probably fortify stuff as per usual. I've got a different cavalry units. They do not seem to have, well, they have spotting range, so that's nice. Demoralization, but still the values. And nice, where is the action points? Nice action points rate, but the values are just not there. So divisions are okay, but they are trash in compared to cores. And cavalry brigades suck. Attack values against forts. Yeah. Now, that's the important piece, artillery. Is it any good or not? Demoralization, the entrenchment. Okay, so they have value in that. Heavy mortars, what do these? Heavy mortars. By a half. Okay. I think siege artillery might be a worth investment. Now, the question is whether the units can entrench like in the World War I game. I don't suppose they can, because it doesn't make any sense, but if that would be the case, then, well, those artillery pieces might be actually important. How do we have a shell? Max shells, okay, only one, so they don't seem to be that good. Unless something can increase the value. Heavy mortars, what's that? Submarines, okay. Anyway. Infantry, nothing. Balloons, okay. For modernization. Armored trains, nice. Naval engines. Ironclads, so that's naval stuff. Okay. More units. Railroad battery. Attack range 2, that's nice. Well, railroad trains might be better than artillery, it seems. Same value of the entrenchment. Armor trained. The question is, can they move like the armored trains? So, can they attack and then retreat? So they are mostly, though, for demoralization and the entrenchment value, as we can see. Forts are always nice target for them. Yeah, so I suppose they can retreat like armored trains, and those are made against infantry. I love my armored trains, so... Okay, requires experimental balloon. And what does it do? It doesn't move at all. Seems like trash to me. Ironclad, so those are naval units. Demoralization value. Wooden. So forts and other ships are the target of those. Monitor. Kind of the same deal. Ship of the line. Well, old ships, it seems. Naval weapons, naval engines, frigates, gunboat. Okay, so they are made to fight against infantry, it seems. River ironclads. I'm not too interested in naval game. I'm not sure how relevant it is, but it kind of always was scuffed in strategic command games. You get bad weather, you lose every single time, and you can do nothing against that, so we'll see how relevant it is, but definitely in my first playthrough I will not be bothered by it too much, I suppose. But let's go to, well, that's all of the units, so siege artillery, probably not worth it, maybe. Action points, that just sucks, it's definitely too slow. So good thing is that artillery is probably not broken by the look of it. But let's take a look at the research now. So we know what that does. So for core is very good. Divisions. So basically we know what things we should buy. Divisions and cores. Other infantry units are trash because of that. Skirmishers. Okay, we've got 2 levels of demoralization. Okay. Again, why those units are better? Division scores. Because demoralization value is higher. So I would suggest that is more important than that. Scouts. Except the regiments by 1. Okay, that's important. Do not get surprised make the enemy attack. So all of these have a spotting. Okay, they have land spotting of 2, but why would you buy rangers when you have cavalry? I don't know. But anyway, scouts. Okay. Skirmishers. Take do not. Those have skirmishers as well. So armor trains is only applying to those guys. No research at all. Ironclads. Okay. As per usual, those are passive buffs, those are applied buffs, which means we need to upgrade units with them. Now, that I would say that's important to some extent, but not like over infantry equipment important. Cavalry equipment for Indians it applies. Cavalry divisions 1 and corps also 1. We don't have any cavalry corps though. But anyway, if we have a lot of cavalry units, that upgrade might be. I think that it will be more kind of an infantry based game, so not really that. It is relevant, but I would not say that it's more important than, at least from my guess. My guess is that it's important, but not as important as those, probably. Infantry and skirmishers. Now, heavy mortars. I think it's worth. But definitely not overdose, so that's definitely something to keep. Submarines. It's cheap, so maybe irrelevant. But you need to upgrade them, you need to buy them probably. I don't know how many ships we'll have. Now. Naval and for attack values. How relevant it is the question. But it also gives you the intel of how good the units are, so ironclads are the best in that job. So why would you buy lesser unit when you can spend your money on better ships, you know? Naval engines. Also, well, it's kind of like with long range 40 aircraft in World War II games. It's kind of important when it is relevant. And you need to create those situations. So definitely not the most important things now. That land defense value. It's trash. Because you do not want if your armor train is attacked by land units, then you've already done something wrong. But those 2 points might be worth it. 2 action points, it would be on par with the World War II games, but of course the scale is different, so. But, well, the hexes are not different in those games after all, so. It's definitely a nice upgrade, but definitely. It depends how many of those trains you actually have as well. Like if you've got only one, then definitely I wouldn't go for it. Do you have any of the... No. It seems like it's a submarine to me. A bunch of HQs. Maybe that's a submarine. Let's take a look at the ships. So it's a monitor. Ironclad. And the river timber clothes. Those were... Yeah. So that's not that great. Lighthouses. You can play around it, so I'm not sure whether I would actually go for that. But we've already got that, so that's something. Now that's let's take a look at that. Each new level of fort modernization increases the ironclad attack value. What do you mean? We don't have this upgrade available, so I'm not sure what they are talking about. It doesn't make any sense. Forts. Let's take a look at forts. We cannot buy those from what I can see. No. Ironclad, so probably it means that value. Okay. Defense values are more important than the attack values against ironclads, I'd suppose, but they are only... It's a bit weird, they have only 5 strength. We cannot reinforce... We have money, but we can reinforce them, so... That's pretty low for a unit. I mean, that's nice amount of bonus defense, but land and naval defense values. So, because it's 0.5, it means that first upgrade will give us what? Land. So probably all of those artillery, infantry, cavalry, not sure whether artillery guns and artillery value, and it would increase by 1.5. So it means that in practice the first upgrade would increase the defensive values by 1 and the second upgrade by 2. Yeah, max shells 2. Okay, but still that's kind of bad. And whether they are affected like garrisons are in other games. So do they get morale halved because they have only 5 points of strength? I think they do. So they might be pretty squishy units, unfortunately. Can they be attached to HQs? I hope so. I don't know. But they seem to be scuffed at this point. Well, they are nice as a unit that you get for free, but still. I'm not too sure what to think about those things. Okay, now core organization, because core seem to be broken when it comes to stats. I honestly think that this is more important than infantry equipment even. Yeah. Now, field telegraph and the range and unit limit. So those are pretty important, I'd say. Leadership. 3. Okay. Each level, so we can increase it by 3. That's very nice. All these 3 are important. Let's take a look at that. Get to 3. Okay, for morale it's very important. Now let's take a look at the defense value of... Yeah, those are not halves, so in fact only level 2 upgrade will give the upgrade to defense, but Even if it was just morale, it would be worth it, so definitely important upgrade. So I would say this 3 infantry equipment core and infantry tactics so far are the most important. Cavalry tactics, well, it seems that it might be important for the Confederacy because they got already 2 cheats. But it does the same thing, so the third cheat would only increase the unit morale. So if you go for cavalry, I suppose it's good. Now naval tactics. Mm. Well, for naval games it's important, for blockading it's important, so also important, but definitely not as important as those. Now, Amphibious Warfare, 5 levels, okay. Marines also receive a half point of infantry and fort attack, and +1 build limit. Well, 6 point. With the upgrades, passive upgrades, they are as good as cores, actually. That's crazy. I think they might be a bit broken. But I would suggest if you go for the amphibious landings, well, it's only one text, to be fair, so it kind of seems like very good. Actually, very, very good. Experimental. Up submarines by 1. Only 2 levels, we have 1 on the queue, so you can have only 2 submarines. It seems trash. Now, balloons. I don't know what that unit does, because so far it doesn't seem to be looking like it's useful at all. Action points 1. So it cannot get attacked, I'm not sure. It can fly over the enemy lines, but you cannot stack units in strategic command, so I'm not sure what it does, actually. I have no idea. Seems like a good unit to me. Okay, research, back to research. Okay, spying and intelligence. 5 levels, oh my freaking god. Okay, so we've got top 4 research now. Infantry equipment, core, infantry tactics, and spying and intelligence. Now logistics. It increases passively action points of armored trains. And of course the minimum supply distribution of HQs. So you want to be at level 3 at least. So I don't know why would you buy that in this case. Like that's completely trash. You can go for better tech than that. It's completely useless. And you need to pay actually to upgrade it. So no. Armored trains plus logistics is the way to go now. Production and industrial technology. Well, basically it means that industrial tech is still better than production, but I would say that it's still very... Well, you definitely go for industrial over production, but it's very good. Depending also on the resources, but let's take a look. Do we have any mines that we can see? 20, so worth twice. Small cities, okay, 10. And other resources. Let's take a look at the map. Or reports. Capital city, Town fortified and mines. Mexico. And also take a look at industrial modifier. Well, it doesn't show us anymore. It's a bit weird. You could have seen the industrial modifier by moving your mouse over a country here, but it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Okay, so I now know why those are here, because they they don't want France, and yeah, they need the hex here, but they cannot be invaded, let's put it this way. So I'm not sure what the industrial modifier of the country is in the beginning of the game. And I have no idea how to check it otherwise, so... But probably it's still very good for both. Now, because before I check something, let's take a look at those guys. Okay, it seems that they have the same... They can buy cores. Look at that, they've got research. Let's take a look at their research. So they are basically maxed on research, it seems. So you do not spend any research on those guys. Okay, now you can actually see how valuable those upgrades are. Like, that's insane. Look at that. Why would you buy anything but cores if you can afford to buy them? It's insane. Skirmishers, let's see, demoralization value. That's pretty strong, guys. Siege artillery, as you can see, demoralization, and the entrenchment rises. And it's not that impressive. Cavalry brigade, it sucks, but just food. Nice. Wooden ships are out of the place here. I'm not sure how relevant it will be. The possibilities to actually use those guys, the major powers in the military fashion. Probably a huge investment in diplomacy would be required. And just saying, like, you can deploy a few of those and you're good to go, you know. The cost is pretty hefty, as we can see, but it's definitely worth it. Division scores. So initially, whenever you have a core, buy core, then divisions. And probably marines, because they are broken, at least it seems to me. With the Amphibious Warfare bonus. Okay. Now, let's take a look at what's worth here. So those mines look like important targets. 4 mines here. Actually, we can, after all, disable fog of war here, because why shouldn't we? What does the Union start with? Okay, nothing important. Some ships. No units. Okay, they've got like a few units in here. Brigade units. They've got garrisons, actually, it seems. More than we do, that's for sure. Aid supply in here. Okay, they've got some city. So it seems like the normal supply loop rules do not apply. You don't need to have a railway connection, which makes sense. You don't need to have a road connection, it seems as well, but only land connection to provide aid supply from the small cities. It's pretty nice. Not sure whether that is the case because, well, that's the island, so it doesn't really apply to that. But we've got like Fort Monroe, okay. But it's only a secondary supply source, so you need to still be applied to still have a link to primary supply source in order to have 10 or 8 supply. And probably 6 in the occupied territories, I would assume. That at least happens in normal games. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on the map and the resources that are the most worthwhile to take, but definitely there are some. And speaking of railways and roads, okay, it looks like they are still the same, like in other strategy command games. Okay, nice. So I will have fun with this game for a while, I suppose. We'll take a closer look at all of the FS objectives, fighting spirit objectives. Okay, we've got fortifications here, it seems. How valuable are there? Okay, can we click on them? No. I'm not sure why yeah, you can click on properties here, but not here. So I'm not sure what values do they have. Maybe we can click on one of ours. We have fortification somewhere. Of course, I will not be able to find them right now. But anyway, that doesn't seem to be relevant right now, so I will leave it. Let's take a look at that. That's Union, okay. Yeah, they do not have connection to the primary supply source, so they are at 5. Now, any other hexes on the sea that are important? Now, Mexico. There are some. There's a fort in here, so potentially they can advance. Another important naval hexes that I need to know about. Doesn't seem to be the case. Okay then. That was the first look at the game. First research and unit showings. So, of course, maximum research 280. Not sure how the unit looks, but it's not that much in comparison to the prices because, as you can see, well, it's in some cases it's comparable, but it's more than in comparison to World War II games. The prices are definitely heftier. But I would suggest that equipment, core, infantry, spying, and industrial are the first 5 big boys to go through. So what would it be? Actually, can we have some? So let's take a look. Okay, the cheats are limited at 2, it seems. Is infantry equipment also? Let's see. Okay, you can also invest 2. So it seems like you can invest 2 cheats into every research category. Okay. So let's count. That would be 500, 800, 1100, 1500, Well, we are at 2000 exactly, so we don't have that much left. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for now, that's going to be it, folks. We return with glory here, hopefully. So we start at 85, 83% as probably will receive some boosts along the way of fighting spirit. But anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you for watching this, let's call it introductory video to this game, as we will begin the blind run next time as Union, because they do not have the initiative. So it's just like with the allies in World War II games, I assume at least. But anyway, that's going to be it for now. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.